I have no idea where I am, or why do I have to build mazes to protect this portal. Couldn't I just close the one where the enemies come from? No? Well, screw me, I guess. I wish this confusion was due to me randomly finding an exe file on my desktop that I opened cause I was bored. That would have been exciting. And certainly given me more to work with compared to what I have now, which is pretty much nada. Hello everyone. Artisan TD is a tower defense game released 2 years ago. I was once again looking for a quick game that I could play without real commitment, and I also wanted to play a tower defense game. So of course Steam recommended me Dora. Who the fuck put Dora into the tower defense game genre? I mean, they're not wrong, but Most tower defense games fall into one or two categories. Ones where the path enemies take is pre-made, and ones where the player makes the path. This game belongs to the second category. Enemies always try to take the shortest path from the evil purple glowing portal, or portals, towards the heavenly glacier glowing portal, or portals. As tower defense games go, Artisan TD is pretty basic, as in it looks pretty and plays basic. First thing game is going to throw your way is how pretty it looks. Playable with a controller, this stylized PBR 3D game is optimized for large screens and 4K. If only anyone knew what PBR 3D means. Unlike the previous game I looked at, this game looks great, compared to most other tower defense games, which tend to look bland, instead focusing entirely on interesting gameplay mechanics. While minimalism was the point of the previous game I reviewed, Artisan TD plays with constraining colors and lighting to make towers, tiles and enemies look distinct and pretty. Nothing blends together and important parts stick out. Enemies are always easy to differentiate, not only between different species, but also interspecies. What I'm trying to say in too many words is that the game looks good. Second thing game is going to throw at us is the story. Yeah, this text box is pretty much it. There is a bit more to it, but even then it's light and actual pretext of what we're even doing here can only be found on the game's store page. Imagine having your story like that, what fool would do this? We are the head of the Artisans Guild.
Hello everybody, my name is Matti, in Finland, we homo.
And we decided to conquer this island called the Archipelago of Chaos. In here, titans do something with souls and monsters are somehow affected. To conquer the islands we need to defeat these tyrants. And have fun or something. Not that any of this matters, this is a tower defense game. The story could have just been you like towers, so you build them in a hostile place. Like
I just woke up in
Birmingham.
a fucking steaming mood, yeah? Because I live in a shithole! Do you know what I mean? Birmingham is a fucking shithole!
Like most tower defense titles, Artisan TD starts off pretty simply and then gradually expands both its roster of towers and enemies. The curve feels right, there were no massive difficulty spikes and new things got added, even with the end in sight. There are a total of 42 levels and there are 2 modes to choose from. The Prince mode is the easy baby mode for babies. More money at the start and after each wave, as well as upgrades the Arrow Tower. Normal mode has 3 difficulties to choose from. Here's what the game says about them. Honestly, I've played the game on Nightmare difficulty, and Nightmare is constrained but not nightmarish, so unless you want an easy time, I suggest you go with the hardest difficulty. Basics of the genre are all present and therefore are not going to be touched. The not so usual points on the other hand are going to be thoroughly molested. Like stated before, we build the path the enemies take, which is the best defense we have access to. However, that does not affect 2 of the enemy types, but more on that later. Most of the levels are therefore big and give many ways to build long paths, as well as where and which towers to put at what position. Towers synergize together quite well and their variety allows for different combinations, despite one specific tower being a bit too good. That tower is the Ballista Tower, by the way. It's a bit too good maybe. Just a bit. A good amount of OP. The tower amount is not numerous, but all of them are different enough. Archers is what we get at the start, middle damage, but is the only normal tower that can target both airborne and ground enemies.
So that was a fucking lie.
then ice mages get added, then arbalest, and so on and so forth. Towers do not have a different type of damage, all damage is the same. It's just the damage, the attack speed, the AoE, which enemies they target, and some give status effects, that's the difference. I forgot to say cost, they also cost different. Towers also have an elite version. After being upgraded 2 times, they can be upgraded again to get more range and usually damage, and sometimes a special effect. However, prestige is not always available. A star near the tower has to be present for us to elite a tower. We also have access to 2 non-damaging buildings. One is for the base of the towers, that's all I'm gonna say about that. And the other one is the farm. Farm is available in a limited amount of maps, but every time it's available, game changes to a farming simulator. Every tile surrounded by a farm grows money, 10 gold per tile per round, so we always want as big of a farm as soon as possible. Some maps also offer another special tower, the bank. We never get to actually build one, but if it's present, it gives us a percentage of the current amount of gold at the end of the round. These two in tandem allow to farm a lot of cash. Now comes the not so good part of towers. We can't change the targeted enemy on a whim, mostly. Towers target the furthest enemy unless specified otherwise, like for example Dart's tower targets the weakest and Ballista targets the strongest, which gets quite bad at times where you need Ballista to target the fast guy instead of the tank. For that we have an ability that can help. Right clicking on the tower resets its targeting, and more importantly immediately rotates the tower towards the enemy. Only really matters for the ballista and the catapult, and immediately shoots a shot, which also mostly matters for those two. These refill every round, so don't be afraid to use them. Another small thing are the status effects. There are only 4, and while poison is not in contention and regen is only here to make our lives worse, fire and ice effects are mutually exclusive. Out of the two, only the latest applied status effects will count, so be careful of putting ice towers close to the fire tiles. Man, I can't really relate to a ballista or a mage. If only they were some kind of cartoony animals instead, like monkeys, that would make it better. And enemies are also some weird golems and ninjas. If only there was some kind of rubbery stretchy thing that can hold both air and liquids. Yeah, like a condom.
I dropped my monster condom that I used for my Magnum Dong.
Speaking of condoms, Artisan TD gives us various flavors of them. First, they divide into normal and corrupted. Normal enemies give gold after being defeated, whereas corrupted enemies do not, and we hate them that much more for it. Fucking cheapskates. Secondly, they divide in unarmored and armored. Unarmored just take damage normally, whereas armored ones have armor. Truly only the most riveting commentary on this channel. Shield acts as a secondary health bar that takes reduced damage. This is one of the main reasons why Ballista is OP, as it does 80% of its big damage to armor instead of the usual 30% that the arrow towers do. Then there are 6-ish types of foes. Humanoid are the standard land-dwelling enemies, some fast, some annoying, mostly basic. Golems are the tanks, slow, immune to poison, resistant to ice, have a lot of armor. Then there are the octopuses, the fast ones. They actually have a quirk to them, they speed up as they move, but turns make them slow down. Might be the most annoying group of enemies, as they are still quite tanky and really fast. Then there are the two special types, flying and insectoid enemies. Flying are exactly that, they fly directly towards the portal, and can only be targeted by 2 towers and the elite version of the ice tower. Now insects are on the other spectrum of annoying. Similarly to flyers, they do not care for the labyrinth, they go straight towards the portal through your towers, disabling them, except the Dark Tower, which was specifically made for insects. The last 6 type are the Tyrants. They are just bigger versions of a normal enemy, except the last one, that one is special, but I won't spoil it for you. And that is actually all. Compared to other games in the genre, Artisan TD lacks complexity, as the game is pretty basic, but still enjoyable nonetheless. Levels are easy to replay, If it doesn't work out with your current setup, it's easy to go to any previous round to reshuffle things around. Also, by looking at the portal, we can see which type of enemies is going to come out, and if they are going to give money or not. Towers also always do their advertised damage, as in there is no damage spread and no real randomness. This makes the game pretty accessible for newcomers. For veterans though, game is quite basic. So for you, nightmare difficulty and perfecting every level might be the way to go. If any of that appeals to you, go play the game. It's fun. Thank you for watching the video. I didn't have a lot of time, so I decided to do a real quick one, and I also wanted to just play a tower defense game. I've also been forced back into playing Dora, which is technically a tower defense game, but once again, they just had to release a not completely shit event, and so here I am.
You are the automaton and I am the Dota player. My record is far better.
Losing brain cells and having high-level political discussion. In Ukrainian.
I am tired of carrying these low-skill types of players, truthfully.
I respectfully took your mother to a date in the mid lane and her head was involved. This is really what this says. Smiley face.
Once again, remember to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. Actually, subscribe even if you didn't enjoy it.